Live from New Delhi, you're watching DN India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi pays floral tributes at the Shahid Smarak Kshetra in Guwahati, a memorial honouring the martyrs of Assam movement. US seizes oil tanker off Venezuelan coast, sends thousands of troops to the Caribbean, although Venezuelan government rejects the seizure. US and Russian officials meet in Florida for Ukraine talks of a new format proposing a trilateral meeting with national security advisors of 3 countries. Over 500,000 people in Cambodia displaced by 2 weeks of deadly border clashes with neighbouring Thailand. And India win toss, opt to bowl against Pakistan in the Under-19 Asia Cup final in Dubai today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday paid homage to martyrs of the Assam agitation and anti-foreigners movement at the Shahid Smarak Kshetra at Paschim Boragaon in Assam's Guwahati. The memorial was inaugurated earlier this month. There is a lamp which always remains lit in memory of the 860 martyrs of the 6-year-long movement that ended in 1985 to free the state from illegal migrants. Accompanied by Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma and others, PM Modi also visited the Martyrs Gallery, where the busts of those martyrs during the agitation have been placed. The Prime Minister garlanded the statue of Khargeshwar Talukdar, the first martyr of the movement. Later in the day, the Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone of a fertilizer plant with a capacity of 12.7 lakh metric tons at Namrup in Dibrugarh district, a project aimed at strengthening fertilizer production and supporting agricultural growth in the region. And also, Banaras Hindu University's Inter-University Centre for Teacher Education in Varanasi, in collaboration with the Ministry of External Affairs, is hosting a 7-day capacity building program on the theme The Digital Pedagogy Educators for Tomorrow. The initiative marks an important step in training educators from global south countries to meet the demands of the digital era. A total of 40 teachers from 24 nations are participating in the program. Over the week, they will exchange ideas on digital learning methods while also experiencing India's rich culture and advancements in technical education.
Environment today constantly changing with the AI and all those technology involving. We need to know how to master those knowledge in order to keep education at a certain level, considering all the mental, emotional, and all those parts of human beings, because education is not only instruction, it's human being that has to be developed.
Participants were also taken to visit several sites in Varanasi. Speaking to DD News, they described Varanasi as a city of education and culture, blending tradition with modern learning.
I'm very thankful for this institute for giving me very deep knowledge in digital pedagogy. So they gave us very useful tools, which I'm planning to use in my practice in Russia. I like this city. I like its people. I like its cuisine. So, and I even like the gesture of Indian people. It's so cute.
India's Western Railways has unveiled its first ever private digital lounge and co-working space at Mumbai Central Railway Station, marking a new step in modernizing passenger facilities. The initiative aims to transform railway stations into multi-functional hubs, blending travel with productivity, and reflects a growing demand for smart infrastructure in India's busiest urban centers.
Western Railway has launched its first ever digital lounge and co-working space at Mumbai Central Railway Station, which became operational earlier this week. Located on the station's mainline concourse, the 1,712 square foot facility offers high-speed Wi-Fi, comfortable seating, modular workstations and self-service light refreshments along with non-alcoholic beverages. Passengers visiting the lounge have welcomed the initiative, saying the modern amenities significantly enhance comfort and productivity at the station.
I haven't seen this kind of lounge at any railway station in the India as of now. And the food, the best part over here is the food. The food is super quality. Free Wi-Fi is there and the speed of the Wi-Fi is also very nice. So you can have like your work, office work you can do also here like during the traveling.
To access the digital lounge, passengers are required to pay an entry fee of 200 rupees for the first hour, followed by 150 rupees for each additional hour. Officials said the digital lounge is operated by a private company, introducing professional hospitality services into the railway ecosystem. The facility has been designed to offer a convenient and functional workspace for passengers who need basic office facilities or a quiet environment to work and rest while traveling.
This digital lounge, this is basically, a one level up, right? So here you can have a seat, normal seats. You can stay for a long hours. We have a working, co-working space. The response is very good. Right, as you see, the lounge is pretty much, guests is using the lounges and they are very much happy with the services, right? If the guests, we have received the guest feedback that they want this type of services in other locations also.
Encouraged by the positive response, Western Railway is now exploring plans to set up similar digital lounges at other major stations and even at select suburban stations. The lounge is expected to generate around 3 crore rupees in revenue over a 5-year period, strengthening the railways' non-fare revenue initiatives.
And Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is in Vijayanagar, Karnataka, where she participated in a plantation drive and launched a major polio vaccination drive. She took part in a plantation drive aimed at promoting environmental sustainability and community participation. Local officials and volunteers planted saplings, reinforcing the importance of greener and healthier surroundings as part of broader development efforts. Following the plantation drive, Finance Minister launched a major polio vaccination campaign in the district as part of the National Immunization Day. The drive aims to immunize children under 5 years of age to sustain India's polio-free status by administering oral polio doses at multiple centers across the region. Winter has tightened its grip across North India, disrupting daily life with dense fog, plunging temperatures and a string of weather alerts stretching from Delhi to the Himalayas. In national capital, Saturday marked the season's first cold wave day. Uttar Pradesh remains under a red alert as dense fog to very dense fog and cold day conditions persist across large parts of the state. Himachal Pradesh continues to wait for meaningful winter precipitation. Light rain and snow are expected at isolated places in higher and middle hills on Sunday, with a feeble western disturbance likely to affect the western Himalayan region from December 25. In eastern India, the IMD issued an orange alert for very dense fog in parts of Jharkhand for the next 2 days and a yellow alert till December 23rd. The Meteorological Department in Kashmir has forecast a spell of wet weather beginning today, coinciding with the onset of Chillai Kala. which is a 40-day long period of harsh winter cold. The period, which starts on December 21st and continues until January 31st, marks the harshest phase of winter in Kashmir and is traditionally associated with extreme cold and heavy snowfall, with a cold wave already gripping the valley over the past few days and most areas recording sub-zero temperatures during the night. Residents believe this year's Chillai is likely to live up to its reputation. Meanwhile, India Meteorological Department, or IMD, has forecast snowfall over western Himalayan region for the next 4 days. Bangladesh is once again on the boil following the attack on student leader Sharif Osman bin Hadi. The UN chief Antonio Guterres has called for calm with arson violence reported in several districts across Bangladesh. The next report navigates through the developments in greater detail.
Dhaka is burning. So are many other cities in Bangladesh. The current spate of violence was triggered following the attack on Sharif Osman bin Hadi on December 12th. Hadi, who succumbed to his injuries in Singapore on December 18th, was a prominent leader of the violent student protests, which led to the ouster of Sheikh Hasina and paved the way for the interim administration of Muhammad Yunus. Meanwhile, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called on all stakeholders in Bangladesh to exercise restraint, reduce tensions, and refrain from violence as the country moves towards parliamentary elections scheduled for February. Condemning the killing of youth protest leader Sharif Osman bin Hadi, the UN chief extended condolences to his family and urged Bangladeshi authorities to carry out a prompt, impartial investigation in line with international human rights standards. The United Nations Human Rights Chief has called for a swift and impartial investigation.
We call for calm and for everyone to refrain from violence. Retaliation and revenge will only deepen divisions and undermine the rights of all. We urge the authorities to conduct a prompt, impartial, thorough and transparent investigation into the attack that led to Hadi's death and to ensure due process and accountability for those responsible.
Reports of arson and violence have emerged from several districts of Bangladesh. In Lakshmipur, a child was burned to death and 2 others seriously injured after miscreants set fire to the house of a local BNP leader early on Saturday. In Chattogram, unidentified attackers torched the residence of National Democratic Front President Barrister Anisul Islam Mahmood. Sporadic incidents of violence were also reported in Dhaka and other major cities. Citing security risks, the Bangladesh Shilpakala Academy has suspended all programs and exhibitions indefinitely following recent attacks on cultural institutions, including Chayanot and Udichi. Amid the unrest, Bangladesh's 2 leading newspapers, the Daily Star and Prothom Alo, have resumed print and online operations after temporarily halting services following vandalism and arson attacks on their offices earlier this week. The lynching of a Hindu youth in Moimunsingh and the horrific burning of his dead body in full public glare has sent shockwaves worldwide and raised serious questions about the safety of minorities in the country. With bureau inputs, Naval Sangh Parmar's report from Dhaka for DD India.
And today, Bangladesh's Editors Council and the Newspaper Owners Association of Bangladesh will hold a joint protest meeting to denounce recent mob violence and attacks on media and cultural institutions, raising alarm over press freedom and democratic values. The protest was prompted by a series of coordinated attacks, including vandalism, looting and arson at the offices of Prothom Alo and the Daily Star, as well as assaults on cultural organizations Chayanot and Udichi. Editors Council President and New Age editor Nurul Kabir was also physically attacked during the violence. Meanwhile, Bangladesh's Rapid Action Battalion said no clear evidence of blasphemy has emerged so far in the lynching of a Hindu youth in Mymensingh. Rapid Action Battalion 14 Director Naimul Hassan said 10 people had been arrested in connection with the killing, including factory floor manager Alamgir Hossain and quality manager Miraz Hossain Akon. According to the battalion, Alamgir forced Deepu to resign and then handed him over to the crowd. The victim was Deepu Chandra Das, who was working at Pioneer Knitwear's BD Limited. He was beaten to death by a mob on Thursday night over alleged blasphemy. His body was later tied to a tree and set on fire, triggering widespread outrage. Deepu's family accused factory officials of pushing him to his death. A murder case was filed by Deepu's brother against unidentified suspects. Rapid Action Battalion said it would continue a parallel investigation alongside police into the brutal lynching. The United States apprehended on an oil tanker of Venezuela on Saturday, the latest salvo in a pressure campaign against Caracas. It was the second time in 2 weeks that US forces have interdicted a tanker in the region and comes days after President Donald Trump announced a blockade of sanctioned oil vessels heading to and leaving Venezuela. US Homeland Security Chief Kristi Noem posted a video of aerial footage that showed a helicopter hovering just above the deck of a large tanker at sea. As per media reports, the vessel was a Panamanian flagged tanker carrying Venezuelan oil that had recently left Venezuela and was in Caribbean waters. On December 10, as well, US forces seized a large oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela that was carrying sanctioned oil from Venezuela to Iran. The Venezuelan government rejected the seizure of a new vessel transporting oil. The statement described it as a serious act of international piracy. It said Venezuela denounces and rejects the theft and hijacking of a new private vessel transporting oil, as well as the forced disappearance of its crew committed by military personnel of the United States of America in international waters. Caracas said that the actions will be reported to the United Nations Security Council, other multilateral organizations and governments. Meanwhile, US military was seen operating in Puerto Rico with a US Air Force C-17 Globemaster III aircraft taking off from Mercedita Airport in Ponce. Separately, a US Navy guided missile destroyer, the USS Thomas Hoodner, departed from the port of the Americas on Puerto Rico's southern coast. There are currently 11 US warships in the Caribbean. The US military has also conducted a series of airstrikes on alleged drug trafficking boats in the Caribbean Sea and Eastern Pacific Ocean since September. The United States has for months been building a major military deployment in the Caribbean with the stated goal of combating Latin American drug trafficking, but taking particular aim at Venezuela. The US President has also repeatedly said that strikes on land in Venezuela are coming soon. All right, we are heading for a short break. You stay tuned to DD India.
US launch a bombing campaign against Iran. The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you. You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on
You're watching DD India Live. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. Moving on to Israel-Gaza peace talks now. Representatives from the United States, Egypt, Qatar and Turkey met in Miami, Florida to review the next steps on the ceasefire plan. The joint statement issued by US envoy Steve Witkoff said that representatives reviewed next steps in the phased implementation of the comprehensive peace plan for Gaza. And further consultations will continue in the coming weeks to advance the implementation of phase 2. It said the first phase has yielded progress, including expanded humanitarian assistance, the return of hostage bodies, partial force withdrawals, and a reduction in hostilities. In the discussions regarding phase 2, representatives emphasized enabling a governing body in Gaza under a unified Gazan authority to protect civilians and maintain public order. US and Russian officials held talks in Florida on Saturday as the Trump administration pushed both sides to reach an agreement to end the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Putin's special envoy Kirill Dmitriev met US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner. Marco Rubio, Trump's top diplomat and national security advisor, had said he might also join the talks. Dmitriev said the talks were constructive and would continue on Sunday. The Miami meeting followed US talks with Ukrainian and European officials on Friday, the latest discussions of a peace plan that has sparked some hope of a resolution to the conflict.
The discussions are constructive. They began and continue today and will also continue tomorrow.
Supporting US proposed three-way talks with Russia, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stressed the need to defend a strong alliance with the US and European partners.
We must fight for the United States of America. We must fight for a format in which we stand together with all our allies, with the United States playing a role both as a mediator and as a partner alongside European allies who support us. I believe this is a strong alliance and we must fight to preserve it.
While Russia stated that its conditions for ending the war remain unchanged, demanding Ukraine drop its NATO ambitions and give up 4 claimed regions. Rejecting the condition, Kyiv insisted that it will not give up territory that Russia has been unable to seize. Tensions continued to rise in Honduras as residents and officials reacted to reports that the United States has denied visas to Honduran electoral officials amid delays in announcing results from the nation's presidential election. Honduras' presidential election took place on November 30, but nearly 3 weeks later, there is still no clarity on who will be the country's next president. The chaotic elections have been rocked by a fumbled vote tallying process, allegations of fraud and US intervention. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that the State Department has refused the visa application of Marlon Ochoa, a member of the Honduran National Electoral Council, and revoked the visa of Mario Morazan, the head of Honduras' electoral court. More than 500,000 people in Cambodia have been displaced from their homes by 2 weeks of deadly border clashes with neighboring Thailand. According to officials, the renewed fighting between the Southeast Asian neighbors this month, including with tanks, drones and artillery, has killed at least 22 people in Thailand and 19 in Cambodia. The conflict stems from a territorial dispute over the colonial era demarcation of their 800-kilometer border and a smattering of ancient temple ruins situated on the frontier. Around 400,000 people have been displaced in Thailand due to the reignited border conflict, Bangkok has said. Each side has blamed the other for instigating the fresh fighting and traded accusations of attacks on civilians after 5 days of clashes in July killed dozens. The United States, China and Malaysia brokered a truce to end that round of fighting, but the ceasefire was short-lived. The US Justice Department released a heavily redacted trove of files on Friday related to the Jeffrey Epstein investigation ahead of 2026 US election. The trove of material released by the department included photographs of former President Bill Clinton and other famous names in Epstein's social circle, including Mick Jagger and Michael Jackson. Victims of convicted Jeffrey Epstein expressed anger after a long-awaited cache of records from cases against him were released, with many pages blacked out and the photos censored. Meanwhile, a group of lawmakers, including Democratic and Republican representatives, recently criticized the Department of Justice for its incomplete release of the Jeffrey Epstein's files and threatened possible impeachment articles against Attorney General Pam Bondi and her deputy Todd Blanche. Democrats demanded answers after one image that included a photo of Trump was no longer visible in the Justice Department's online release. The department did not immediately respond to a query about the missing file. Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan and his wife Bushra Bibi have been sentenced to 17 years in prison each in a corruption case tied to the undervalued sale of official luxury gifts received by them. DD India's Adamya Mishra brings us more.
A special court of Pakistan's Federal Investigation Agency on Saturday sentenced former PM Imran Khan and his wife Bushra Bibi to 17 years in prison at Rawalpindi's Adiala jail in a corruption case. The Toshakana 2 case concerns the alleged underpriced purchase of a jewelry set gifted to Khan by the Saudi Crown Prince in May 2021. Toshakana refers to government departments where valuable gifts received from foreign dignitaries are kept. Prosecutors claimed the gifts were obtained in violation of Toshakana rules, but Khan and his wife denied wrongdoing, terming the case politically motivated. Imran Khan was sentenced to 10 years under Section 34 and 409 of the Pakistan Penal Code for common intention and criminal breach of trust, and 7 years under the Prevention of Corruption Act. Bushra Bibi received the same cumulative sentence. Khan remains in Adiala jail with restricted access for family visits. The latest verdict adds another chapter to Imran Khan's tumultuous political journey, marked by popular support, fierce controversy, and now a long prison sentence. Adamya Mishra's report for DD India.
Germany's Magdeburg remembered the one-year anniversary of a Christmas market attack that killed 6 and injured 344 others on Saturday. Several hundred people followed a commemoration service on screen outside a church near the place of the attack and formed a chain of lights holding candles. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz attended the church service among 350 guests. Emergency service personnel was also present during the service as well as on the ground of the Christmas market. The attack was carried out by a 51-year-old doctor from Saudi Arabia who is currently on trial, accused of ramming his highly motorized rent-a-car into visitors of Magdeburg Christmas market last December. The motive for the attack still remains unclear. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said Sunday he has ordered a review into the police and intelligence services after 2 gunmen shot and killed 15 people at a Jewish festival on Bondi Beach. Albanese said his government will examine whether police and spy services have the powers, structures and sharing arrangements to keep Australians safe. Mourners and community members gathered at Bondi Beach, laying flowers and paying respects as Australia marked a national day of reflection for victims. In a nationwide gesture of light over darkness, millions are expected to fill their windows with flickering candles. In South Africa's Johannesburg, an unknown gunman killed 9 people and wounded 10 others in a shooting at a township in Beckersdal. The motive for shooting is still unknown. As per the initial statement by local police, some victims were randomly shot in the streets by unknown gunmen. The wounded were taken to hospital and are undergoing treatment. Police said the shooting was at a site that was illegally selling alcohol. This is the second mass shooting in South Africa this month. On December 6, a gunman stormed a hostel near the capital, Pretoria, killing a dozen people, including a 3-year-old child. Alphabet's Google and Apple have advised employees on US work visas to avoid international travel due to delays of up to 12 months for visa stamping appointments at embassies. Immigration law firms representing the companies said the delays stem from new social media screening requirements, warning that staff risk being stranded outside the US if appointments are postponed. The advisory applies to holders of H-1B, H-4, F, J and M visas. According to Google's memo, which said some US embassies and consulates face appointment delays of up to a year. The administration of President Donald Trump this month announced increased vetting of applicants for H-1B visas for highly skilled workers, including screening social media accounts. The H-1B visa program, widely used by the US technology sector to hire skilled workers, has been under the spotlight after the Trump administration imposed a $100,000 fee for new applications this year. And India's Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Mansukh Mandavia, led the first anniversary celebrations of Fit India Sundays on Cycle campaign in Puducherry. The function was also attended by Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, K. Kailash Nathan, Chief Minister N. Rangasamy and other dignitaries. The event included various fitness activities conducted by experts, followed by a cycle rally led by Minister Mandavia. Over 500 people participated in the rally, raising awareness about fitness and good health. The initiative is a flagship program of the Indian government with the objective to promote cycling as an effective form of exercise. Pakistan got off to a solid start after India won the toss and elected to bowl in the Under-19 Asia Cup final in Dubai today. Opener Sameer Minhas struck half-century and added 92 runs with Usman Khan for second wicket to lay a solid foundation. Pakistan were 169 runs for the loss of 2 wickets. India eye record extending 9th prestigious title after their unbeaten run in the tournament. They also beat arch-rivals Pakistan in the group stage. Multiple players have starred for India such as Vaibhav Sooryavanshi, Aaron George, Vihan Malhotra, Abhigyan Kundu and Kanishk Chauhan. Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy, Chirag Shetty's run in the World Tour Finals in China ended as the Indian doubles pair lost their semi-finals and settled for a bronze. The Indian badminton players went down to the local pair of Liang Wei Kang and Wang Chang by a 10-21, 21-17, 21-13 scoreline in Hangzhou city. Earlier, they had topped Group B after going unbeaten in 3 matches to become the first Indian doubles team to enter the knockout stages of the season-ending tournament. This is also only the second World Tour Finals medal ever won by Indian shuttlers. PV Sindhu, who won the women's singles title in 2018, remains the only gold medalist from the country in the competition. That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.